All right. Hello. Today we have with us presenting Andi Hess. Andi is an award winning certified hypnotherapist, rapid results coach, and international speaker with over 20 years of experience as a productivity consultant, corporate trainer, and organizational leadership professor. She has been featured on stages across the world. After checking off her entire bucket list by 37, Andi developed her signature Be Limitless formula for achieving what you want, inspired by the belief that people already have what they need within them. Andi is dedicated to helping women remix their lives and achieve the extraordinary. Welcome, Andi.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here again today.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I am now a hypnotherapist, and I want to tell you a little bit about how I got to where I am so that you can better understand the roadmap I'm going to present for you today. So, my journey with hypnotherapy actually started when I was 10. So, at 10 years old, life is a struggle when you're 10 years old, right? And add to that, the whole mess of 10-year-olds. At 10 years old was the first time I went to public school. So I was in a brand new school, right? That was hard. But I also had undiagnosed ADHD and autism. And, because we didn't diagnose things like that back then. So I had no idea, right? I just knew it was a really big struggle. And somehow at a garage sale, at some point, I mean, this was the 80s, right? I found a cassette tape, and it was a self-hypnosis cassette tape. And 10-year-old struggling me thought, oh my goodness, you're telling me I can change my brain in my sleep? That sounds like the laziest, easiest, most amazing thing ever possible. And man, I took that tape. I think I'm sure it was like 25 cents or something, and I got my mom to buy it for me. She must have thought I was nuts. Um, and I took that and I listened to that tape every night until I was 21. And then I lost it in a move, actually, and had to wait for the internet to be invented until I could find it again. But I got really obsessed with this idea of productivity, and, more generally, how we determine what our goals are and how we make a plan to meet them. So I started with Franklin Covey as a productivity consultant, helping at the time, it was mostly, corporate kind of executives who had too much on their plate, right? I helped them figure out what it was that they wanted to achieve in their life and, a personalized strategy to get there, using the tools that we had at Franklin Covey. And then later on, of course, I became a professor, an organizational leadership professor, and I started doing the exact same thing with my students, right? I was helping them, in their freshman 101 class, I was helping them transition from high school to college and really asking them to kind of open their minds about what lit them up, what they really loved, what they wanted to do. At that time, you don't really know what you want to do, but it helps to begin to dream, to think about the things that you like instead of like, what does mom tell you got to do? What's the checkbox, right? Um, and then I led our international study abroads, which were international internships. So I help students go, to Prague and work in Prague for a whole summer and deal with everything from how do you apply for this internship to, okay, what do you do boots on the ground when you're working in a different culture? And how do you take that and translate it back to something you may want to do as a career? I also did the capstone. So I developed our capstone, which was obviously career prep, right? So even more of that, what is it for you? And I've always believed this really, really fundamentally that, we get a world of peace when everybody is living their vision. Everybody is going home every day feeling fulfilled and happy and just, and your job doesn't drain you. I believe we get a world like what we see when everybody's going to a 9 to 5 that sucks out their soul, right? So when I left my job as a professor, I was like, well, this is what I still want to do. I still want to help clients decide what it is that they really truly want, and a lot of that is just simply about even admitting that it's what you want, um, and help them get there. See that it's possible to get there. And as I started working with some of my coaching clients, I realized that 90% of the problems aren't these like strategic, oh, you don't have the plans and the checklist and the steps, right? It was like, no, no, no. I need to hold your hand while you delete all the I'm sorry's from your email so you can feel good enough about yourself to stand in your power, right? It was stuff like that. So I started asking some of my clients, hey, the way that I deal with this is using this tool called hypnosis. Would you like to try a guided visualization around this? And the ones that said yes had this like complete 180. This was a couple of years ago now, and some of them I'm still working with on completely different lives. Like just everything is completely different. We're not even, talking about the things that they originally came to me for because those just aren't even an issue. And some of the ones that said no, I'm still working with on the same things. And so that taught me even more that this tool is one of the most powerful tools that you can use to make things easy for yourself, to make what you want become so known to your brain that it just does it for you. And so that's why I talk about breakthroughs and rapid results, because this feels like magic to me every single time. Every single time I'm working with a client and they come up and they're like, wow. And I'm like, yeah, it still feels like magic. I know exactly how it works, but I can't believe it works, right? So over the last couple of years, I have worked with hundreds of clients in private practice now, and I have discovered that there are basically only three steps to success. No matter what you want, if you do not have the results you want, you're missing one of these three steps. I guarantee you. And so I'm going to share those three steps with you today. And keep in mind, right, there's always more levels. So it's kind of, I call it like the spiral parking garage. You like try so hard to get up to the second level and you realize it's exactly the same as the first level. It's just it's a higher level, right? So there's always more opportunity to go deeper into this. But I'm going to tell you what these steps are right now and how you can use them. And then when we get towards the end, I'll actually do a little bit of a hypnosis demo for you so that you can see how powerful this tool is. So I call it, I'm going to share my screen. I call it the breakthrough roadmap. And I want you to think, or I guess I want you to agree with me, that we're going to go take a little road trip today. I love road trips. Road trips are a big, big thing for me. I am actually doing one tomorrow. I'm getting in the car and driving to California. But you probably have taken a road trip before. And I want you to think about just obviously, right? What are the two things? There's two things you need to know when you very first decide you're going to take a road trip, right? One of them, the obvious one, is where you're going, right? So we're going to pick our destination. It's New York City. The other one, a little harder, but you need to know where you're starting, right? If you don't know where you're starting, you actually can't get very far. So we're going to start in LA, right? So now, great. We have determined where we're starting and where we're going. Now, the first thing you want to do is program your GPS. So I just talked a little bit about why it's so important to know what you actually want and to really be able to admit what you actually want. And I want you to think about this dog. I love this picture of this dog. He's looking at this bone. There's no question in his mind what he wants. He is dead set. He's not thinking about his other toys. He's not thinking about, a pig ear. Like he wants that bone. And this is how it should feel to know where you're going. Like if it's not this crystal clear, then your subconscious mind has nothing to grab onto. And spoiler alert, it knows exactly what you want and you don't get to lie to it. The more you try to, water down what it is you want, oh, I don't need that much. Like this will be enough. Or I should want this, right? This is what everybody else tells me I should want. The more you do that to yourself, the more your subconscious mind goes, I don't have a clue. You're saying all these different things. I don't know what it is you want from me because this does not feel genuine. So it's really, really, really important for you to have this kind of crystal clarity on what you actually want. Now, what you don't want, that's the easy place to go to first is, okay, I know what I don't want. And you can start there, but you have to move past that. And it's really important, like I said, it's not what your parents told you to want. It's not what you think you should want. It's not what you think is going to get you the status or the money or the whatever. That doesn't work. Your subconscious mind knows it's a lie, right? And so you begin to actually fight yourself if you don't know or if you're not admitting what you want. And that's where a lot of these subconscious blocks even start. So, step two, I want you to think about the step we call picking your playlist. I want you to think about what are the thoughts that are going to support you in this journey in getting what you want in the same way as a tape. Well, tape, I guess it would be streaming now. But I did just tell you about my cassette tape story. So, and it's funny because when I think about this, if you've ever seen like How I Met Your Mother, there's like a few scenes throughout the show where Ted and Marshall are going on road trips and there's a cassette tape stuck in the player. And so they have to listen to the same song over and over again. I think it's 500 miles. But they have to listen to that same song over and over again as they drive from Chicago to New York and back again, like the whole time. We do not understand that 95% of our thoughts, 95% of our emotions and our ideas and our beliefs and all of that are subconscious thoughts. They're happening automatically. They are like that tape that is stuck in a tape player, just playing on repeat. We're not even aware of it. And on top of that, at least 65% of those thoughts are the same thoughts you had yesterday. You're stuck in your patterns because you're running the same tape. You're running the same programs. And what ends up happening is your brain only has the past to go on, right? It only has the tapes you've given it. And so it can only play things that are from the past unless you begin to give it something else, something new, something for the future. So you're sitting there just replaying all these old thoughts, all these old patterns, all these old programs, and you're getting the same results. And this is why. So I want you to think about your brain as a tuner, just like it's an actual radio, like it's a FM radio. And if your tuner is set on 93.3, you're not going to hear what's on 102.5. You're just not. It's still in the air around you, right? All those broadcast waves are still there. They exist, but you're not tuned in to pick it up. So you've actually had an experience like this. And you might have heard of something called the reticular activating system. But this is the phenomenon where when you decide you're going to buy a new car and you've kind of narrowed it down, and let's say you're deciding, I think I'm going to buy a red Toyota Camry. And all of a sudden, every single car on the road is a Toyota Camry. And you're like, what the heck? They were always there, right? It's not like all of a sudden all the cars just turned into Toyota Camrys. They were always there. But your brain determines what's important by what you're telling it, right? What you're thinking about. And so if you don't give it something to think of, it's going to continue running those old patterns. It's a pattern making machine. That's all it does. So I want you to think about what patterns are you running right now? And you can tell this by what is already showing up in your life. What are your Toyota Camrys? What are you constantly seeing? Every single thing you want already exists in the world. If you are looking for a soulmate, you're not asking anybody to grow him in a petri dish for you, right? If you're looking for money, you're not like expecting that someone's going to go out and mine the gold. All you need to do is get crystal clear on what it is that you want and literally train your brain to find that for you because it already exists. So what patterns would you like to see instead? One of the most powerful ways to do this, by the way, I talk with my clients about making something called an evidence log, or when it's for money, I'll talk about an abundance log. But so often we actually skip over exactly what we want. So if you have a money goal, right, and you walk by a dime on the ground or something, I know a lot of people who just won't stop and pick it up. And that is like the universe trying to ask you, is this what you're asking for? Is this what's important to you? Because I can't figure out what you mean by just a money goal. It's like, do you want like euros or monopoly money or like, oh, US dollars? Guess what? They're made up of dimes, right? And so Simply the act of like picking up that dime and saying, yes, this and more, please. This is the kind of thing I'm asking for. Go find more of it, right? If you're looking for love, where are you already experiencing love in your life? It's maybe not the full extent of love that you'd like to call in, right? It's maybe not a romantic love, but you have people in your life that you experience love from. You have friends, you have family, maybe things like that, right? So, where are you experiencing even the smallest amount of what you already want? And this is one way that you can begin to train your brain to know what it's looking for. Because the more you tell it, oh, go find this, the more it will go find that. All right. So, we want to pick our playlist. We want to purposefully decide which tape is stuck in the cassette player. I'm going to have to update these references for the new generation at some point. Maybe I'll have to get myself into the new generation. I'm not sure how to do that. But what tape is currently playing and what would you rather see? And begin to experience what you would rather see. All right. So we've got our destination. We know where we're going. We've set our GPS. We've told the GPS where we're starting, and it has decided, okay, this is possible, right? It's possible to drive from LA to New York. It's kind of the first step. It's what your GPS will tell you. And if you're trying to drive, across an ocean, it's going to tell you there's no possible, way. But we've decided this is a thing that's doable. And what I see a lot at this point, okay, I know what I want. I even maybe know what that playlist in my head should be. Maybe I'm doing affirmations or, in some other way, in a guided meditation or hypnosis, in some other way, trying to make those thoughts more happen more often or more automatic. But then I'll have people go, but I don't know how to get to New York. I don't know where I'm going to turn on day 3. So I want you to imagine step 3, follow the signs. I want you to imagine you're starting in LA and it looks like this. And you're sitting here freaking out that you can't see where to turn in New York. And I'm about to tell you, you can't even see where you're going to turn next, right? If you look at this picture, you're like, I don't know. Maybe if I'm turning like right here, maybe then I know like, okay, I can see that next turn. Maybe if it's like a super clear street with like dirt roads or something, maybe you can see 2 turns ahead. But you cannot see the future turns, right? And you know that. You know that you can't. Because you will not be able to see the turns in New York until you get to New York. And then this will be your view, and you'll be like, oh, yeah, look, there's my turn, right? So, step 3 is really the process of surrendering the how. And when I talk about surrendering the how, I do not mean necessarily like throw it all out to the universe. That's not what we mean, right? We're still programming the GPS. We still have an idea of where we're going. We're still moving in the right direction. But what it does mean is that the person that I am today cannot know how to get there. I'm not there yet. I cannot know. I'm not supposed to know. The purpose of your dream, the purpose of that thing that you want, the thing that is built into your subconscious is to grow you into a new person, the person that can handle that thing. I don't care if your dream is a Ferrari and you're like, why do I want a Ferrari? That doesn't even fit in my life. It doesn't make any sense, right? If your dream is a Ferrari, it's because there is some reason that getting to the point of owning a Ferrari is going to grow you into the right kind of person. So who would you have to be to walk into the Ferrari dealership? Who would you have to be to drive around in a Ferrari all the time, right? That is the point of your vision and your goals. And so it's really, really critical to recognize that you're not supposed to know how to do it yet. You're not supposed to know how to get there. And what I see people do a lot is they get really, really frustrated when there's a detour. So I want you to think if you're on this road trip from LA to New York and you're in the middle of like Oklahoma and there's a car accident and they reroute your traffic around, are you going to throw a fit about like, I didn't get to go down that particular road in Oklahoma. No, right? Not unless there was some other stop that you wanted to make there, but then that would be your destination, right? We get so caught up in this is the path I can see that when detours and other things kind of come in our way, which by the way, right? Maybe we do see a sign on the road in Oklahoma where it's like, hey, there's this cool thing you could go stop and see. And we decide, hey, that'd be a cool turnoff. And you'd miss that if you were just like, has to be this way and only this way, right? This is the equivalent of trying to say, well, here, let me do this first. This is one of my favorite quotes. A bird sitting on a tree is never afraid of the branch breaking because its trust is not on the branch, but on its own wings. If the branch breaks, the bird is going to fly. You are a competent adult. You know how to drive, so you know how to follow the signs, right? You know how to follow the road signs and adjust as you go. Your brain doesn't know the difference between something you experience in real life and something you imagine experiencing. And so if you're sitting on the branch, constantly imagining the branch breaking underneath you, you're forcing yourself to experience over and over and over again that branch breaking. And it's not even breaking, right? And I don't know about you, but if I have to experience something negative, I'd really rather only experience it once and only if it actually happens. Because the reality is, for almost everything, when there's a detour, when something goes differently than what you thought, you will be able to figure it out at that point. You probably, even no matter how much you try, you probably cannot come up with the way things are going to go wrong anyway. Not to mention, if you take a moment and you think about all of the best things that have ever happened in your life, I can guarantee you they were unplanned. They were not the things that you specifically mapped out and planned to happen that way. The best things are usually the things that happen in a completely different way than we could have imagined. And so I want you to think of this like, I will not start this road trip unless I can map out every single place I'm going to pee in the next 4 days. Right? Like this idea that like I have to know how to get to my goal before I can start is just like that. And the truth is you're a competent adult and you will be able to tell when you have to use a bathroom and you'll be able to find a bathroom because you know how bathrooms work. Right? If you map out every single place you're going to stop and have a potty break, you're going to be incredibly frustrated because you will not get there at the specific time that you set for yourself. You'll be late or you'll be early. You'll be in a different place when your bladder actually tells you you have to pee, and you'll be like, oh my God, I don't know, there's another 2 hours till that place I mapped out. Or you'll get to a place you mapped out and it will be closed. That happens a lot in Arizona. We close our bathrooms on the highways a lot. I don't know why. But that's how ridiculous it is to feel like you have to have the whole thing mapped out, right? And again, that's not to say you don't have a plan. That's not to say you don't know where you're going. But this is step 3. It's being able to recognize that all of the worrying in the world about exactly how it will play out is not going to help it play out better. It's not going to help you handle it better. And it's probably not actually going to get you where you want to go in the first place, right? So that's step 3. So now it's time to play a little. I'm going to do a quick hypnosis demo. We're only going to be about 5 minutes. And I'm going to walk you through implementing these 3 steps in a subconscious way. And the really cool thing, right, as I shared with step 1, the really cool thing about your vision is that your subconscious already knows it. So even if you're not really clear on what it is that you want, that's not something that you've been told to want or that you've watered down, you can actually access it pretty easily in hypnosis. Okay. If you've never done hypnosis before or never done hypnosis with me, hypnosis is a normal, natural state we all go through multiple times a day. It's that same state where when you're driving and you all of a sudden are home and you don't know how you got there, that's hypnosis. It's a your conscious mind is distracted, but your subconscious mind is still paying attention to everything. So you can't do this wrong. So I'll invite you just to take a moment and close your eyes and do a nice deep breath. And I'll have you go ahead and see if you can settle a little bit more comfortably into the chair. Any twitch or repositioning your body needs. And on your own, go ahead and take 3 nice deep breaths. Make them the deepest breaths you've taken all day long. And I want you to imagine that you're drawing in a sense of calm, relaxation, and releasing everything else. So all the stuff you've done today, just release it for now. We'll be back in a few minutes. All the stuff you have yet to do later today, just release it all. And after you take those 3 deep cleansing breaths, just allow your breath to return to its normal, natural rhythm. And I'll invite you to begin to follow it. So just notice your breath. And now I'll ask you to bring your awareness to your nose if it's not already there. And notice the air going in and out. Perhaps you can notice that the air is cooler going in and warmer as it goes out. And then bring your awareness to your chest and notice how it rises and falls. And then move your awareness now to your belly and see how you experience the breath from deeper down. And notice now how different the experience is based on where you place your awareness. Same experience. And it completely changes your experience of it. Good. Now I'll invite you to bring to mind an image of yourself, maybe a year from now. And so imagine that you're looking at this future version of yourself like she's standing a ways in front of you. And she has created the life that you want, your dream life. She's living it. And so the first thing I want you to do is notice how you can tell. Notice how you can tell that she has already achieved everything that you've set for yourself. Is it how she holds herself? The way she breathes, the way she moves? Is it a particular outfit or a particular environment? Maybe you see her doing something that you would like to do. Maybe she's on a stage or at the top of a mountain or something else. Something that represents everything you want. But notice how you can tell. Notice how she's feeling. Are there particular emotions or just a general sense of peace? Maybe it's a sense of accomplishment. And I want you now to turn up the color on this picture. So make it more vivid and more saturated. And then I want you to go ahead and imagine that you are stepping into this version of yourself. So you literally go step into her body and breathe it into every cell of your being. I literally want you to allow the chemistry of this version of yourself to wash over you. So feel what it's like to stand in that body, in that place. Feel what it's like to have those emotions. And now from this place, from this version of yourself, I want you to imagine an activity, something that's on your calendar, maybe for the next few days, something you'd like to achieve. What's the next step, the very next step, that next turn? And I would like you to imagine and see what it feels like to do that thing from this version of yourself. So imagine step by step. What is the thing? And imagine yourself doing it. And notice the emotions. This version of yourself has already achieved everything, so she knows it's going to work out. So notice the way she feels as she's doing it. Notice how successful it is as she does it. Notice how she gets the exact results she wants. Notice how it's easy. Notice how easy it is to take this action as this version of yourself. And run through that entire loop, seeing yourself do this thing twice. Imagine it's just a little movie scene and watch yourself play it through twice. When you get to the end of that, I want you again to breathe in all of those good, successful feelings of confidence and achievement. I want you to breathe in that knowing that it was so easy. That feeling that it all worked out. And just let that settle deep down into all the just right spaces in the subconscious to serve as a roadmap for your future. And so begin to allow the images to fade. But taking it all in, and carrying with you all the strength, all the accomplishment, all the good feelings now as we close the door to the subconscious mind at 0. At 1, go ahead and begin to bring your awareness back into the room where you're sitting. At 2, awareness coming back into your body, feeling the energy move back into your fingers and your toes. 3 is a deep cleansing breath, that beautiful sense of well-being. At 4, eyelids beginning to flutter. And at 5, eyes open, wide awake, back to full awakening consciousness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake, back to full awakening consciousness. So we'll have a second for Q&A, I think, but real quick before we do that, let's finish up here with this offer for you. It's brand new and I've never offered this before until this last weekend. So if you don't know where to start, if you know that you have a pattern and you are tired of that pattern and you're not sure what's possible for you, a lot of times I hear, I'd like to do this, but it's going to take years of therapy, or, it's for another time. This is a hard one, or something like that. I promise you it's not. And so, what I'm offering is the opportunity to get a completely complimentary subconscious blocks audit with me. I will, through both a form and an actual Zoom meeting, I will tell you what I see as possible for you based on my work with hundreds of clients in private practice. I will tell you what I see are the main things that are blocking you from getting where you want to be, and what is possible when you remove those blocks. So, and I'll just say, just in case the QR code doesn't work, that link is remixcoach.com/audit. And I'll put this slide up with my information in case anybody on the recording would also like to contact me. So I hope that you saw something amazing for yourself. I hope that you had an experience. Apologies, my lights are motion activated and I was being too still. But I hope that you had an experience in that demo where you saw a version of yourself and a very easy next step to make that version happen. And with that, I'll open it up.
Thank you. That was amazing. Thank you so
I'm
much.
so glad.